Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for today's Dragon webinar, Eliminating Legal Transcription Bottlenecks with Speech Recognition. Just a few housekeeping items that I want to go over. All the phone lines have been placed on mute. If you have a question at any time during the presentation, please submit it using the chat or Q&A panels in the WebEx interface that you'll find on the right-hand side. Today's presentation is being recorded, and you will receive an email with a link to that recording. So in case you do miss any portion of today's presentation or wish to share it with a colleague, you can absolutely do so. So just a quick overview of the agenda of what we're going to go through with you guys today. We're going to actually take a few minutes to step back and talk about who Nuance is as a company. I'm sure you're all obviously very familiar with Dragon and the brand recognition that comes along with that speech recognition software. But we want to introduce you to Nuance, who is actually the company behind Dragon, and what other solutions and services we offer. We'll talk a little bit about what some of the market challenges facing legal departments today. Of course, we'll go into the solution, speech recognition. We'll take you through that. We'll jump to a demonstration featuring Tom Vane, one of our sales engineers. We'll wrap it up with a little bit of results and ROI, and then certainly get into a Q&A as time permits. If we're not able to get to all the questions, we certainly will take those offline and address it with each of you individually. Okay, so let's get started. So I wanted to just talk about who Nuance is as a company. So what we're really doing today is reinventing the relationship between people and technology. And to put that simply, it means that we advocate everything that's second nature by simplifying the way people interact with machines. And we do that by humanizing technology so that doing your job and finding what you need feels natural and effortless. We invent amazing technology that makes everyone easier to understand, and we convert burdensome tasks and workflows into seamless experiences. So many of you probably don't go a single day without interacting with some form of technology that is powered by a Nuance voice and natural language solution. It could be anything from a consumer technology like a smartphone, a book reader, a navigation system, even your television, and of course your desktop computer. You might have also encountered Nuance when calling into a customer service center or having a conversation with a specialized customer service assistant. Virtually every leading global consumer technology manufacturer has embraced Nuance and considers it the gold standard for powering meaningful voice recognition and natural language interactions. And right now it's reached the point where the technology that's powered by Nuance is so effective it's becoming expected everywhere. And as you can see from the list of logos on this slide, we're trusted by some of the world's largest and most prestigious companies. So if we look at Nuance by the numbers, it's really one way that we measure our incredible growth, and part of that is the success of our customers. So you can see here that our cloud-based systems are now processing over 4 billion mobile transactions annually, that our technology is deployed in over 7 billion mobile handsets, that there are more than 70 million Nuance-powered cars on the market today, and we have well over 10,000 mobile application partners. In addition, our solutions are supported by over 70 languages, and there are over 500,000 clinicians documenting patient interactions with Nuance. So you can see that Nuance really spans the breadth of industries, including healthcare. So, but a majority of you are here today to talk really about our Dragon speech recognition software. So what would happen if you quit typing and started talking? So let's talk a little bit about some challenges that are facing legal professionals today. And I'm sure most of this information is not a groundbreaking revelation to you. And in fact, most of these are probably all familiar territory. the time and cost involved in documenting case and client information, including creating contracts, briefs, and other legal materials, can be staggering. And traditional reliance on administrative support staff and outside transcription services can really drag down productivity and eat into profits. And obviously, the unwieldy documentation process can mean longer work days, but fewer billable hours. So some questions that may have led you to today's webinar is, how can you reduce staffing costs, make staff more productive, and steer them towards more billable duties? How can you improve transcription turnaround time to eliminate the bottlenecks that hamper productivity, weigh down service, and ultimately impact your profitability? So let's talk about what a possible solution is in speech recognition. So legal firms and law departments are probably using speech recognition for many different purposes, but there are typically 3 or 4 primary tasks: to speed document turnaround, reduce transcription costs, streamline repetitive workflows, and have the ability to have staff members focus more on billable work. And you want to be able to do this without having to change current business processes or existing information systems. So the 3 features that form the foundation of Dragon really are speed, accuracy, and ease of use. First, Dragon can speed documentation creation by letting you turn your voice into text with up to 99% accuracy using virtually any Windows-based application. And in fact, speech recognition delivers results 3 times faster than most people type. Second, it improves your workflow because it eliminates document development bottlenecks. By streamlining the editing and correction process with speech recognition through dramatically decreased turnaround time and also reduced dependencies on support staff. Finally, it increases efficiency and profitability by enabling law firms and legal departments of any size, really, to increase billings without increasing their support staff costs. So let's talk a little bit about speed. So Dragon typically produces results 3 times faster than most people type. And if you consider that the average person types about 40 words per minute, though I'm sure this is higher for some of you and your staff, but most of us can speak at approximately 120 words per minute. So this means you can really create documents about 3 times faster with Dragon than you can typing them by hand. And even if you are that fast typist, Dragon speeds up your documentation creation because you have a hands-free input. So you can review files or reference materials or even create documents when you're away from your desk using a digital recorder. One of the important things to really note on this slide is that Dragon works with most Windows-based applications, as you heard me say earlier. It's not exclusively for word processing either. With Dragon, you can simply talk to your computer and words instantly appear in the full Microsoft Office suite, as well as Internet Explorer, Corel WordPerfect, and virtually any other Windows-based application, including some widely installed case and practice management systems. If we take email, for example, some of our customers have suggested that they can write somewhere between 20 and 30 emails a day. Some may be short and informal, but many are obviously well-thought-out responses to significant questions. We're finding that email can easily consume 1/3 of your day or more. And if you spend 2 hours a day at minimum creating emails, you can cut that time to less than an hour. And that equates to more than, that equates to at least 250 hours a year that could be used to increase billable time valued at more than $35,000. So it just gives you a quick idea of how speed can really help the documentation turnaround process. So let's talk a little bit more about what Dragon can do for you. As a legal professional, using Dragon speech recognition software, you are able to get more done in less time. And each organization and even the individuals within that organization can use speech recognition for different purposes based on their responsibilities, workflows, preferences, and of course applications used within that office environment. Speech recognition users can include anything from partners, associates, corporate counsel, judges, legal researchers, court reporters, law students, paralegals, transcribers, assistants, and other support staff, but also mobile professionals and people with disabilities. And not only does Dragon work great for the legal industry, we really do span a wide variety of industries, from law enforcement, police officers, safety officials, social and caseworkers as well, insurance professionals, especially those adjusters that are out in the field doing adjustments all day. Financial services reps as well, when we get into compliance issues and having to document client conversations. So what are we finding that legal professionals are using the software for? So as I mentioned earlier, really finding it that you can create documents such as contracts, briefs, motions, some pleadings, and memos. Of course, you can manage your email. You can summarize documents. You can streamline that third-party transcription process. But you can also automate repetitive and multi-step tasks using simple voice commands like save, print, send document, or insert signature for increased efficiency. And I'll go into more of that in just a minute. So let's talk a little bit about how we're redefining the transcription process. So many law firms and corporate departments with limited staff can often require their attorneys to create their own accurate documents under some very tight deadlines. And even when an in-house transcription process is in place, it can be sometimes cumbersome and time-consuming. Many of you, I'm sure, work late into the night and have no choice but do some of your transcription yourself. And of course, third-party transcription comes with its own set of drawbacks, whether audio is sent to an outside transcription service or an in-house transcriber or legal assistant. So outsourced transcription can be expensive, of course, time-consuming. It can slow down any proceedings, impact client satisfaction, and really cut into profits. And in-house transcription, while more cost-efficient, still involves a lengthy back-and-forth review cycle. We had one General Deputy Counsel of State Attorney General Office comment to us, "Our transcription services are necessary, but I would love a better way." So really, Dragon is a fit for either scenario, and some people may assume that Dragon can only be used for direct input, and that's true, that Dragon enables lawyers to quickly create documents themselves to reduce dependency on support staff. Dragon actually gives both lawyers and their administrative staff more control over how documents are created and finalized. So the traditional transcription process, as I mentioned, is lengthy and can be very fraught with inefficiencies, and even for something as simple as a memo. Now this slide is probably a little bit busy, and I'm not sure you can make out all of the words on the page here, but what we're really trying to illustrate here is how Dragon can improve the workflow and increase the productivity of both the lawyer and support staff. So if we quickly summarize the process, the first step is a lawyer can dictate into a digital handheld recorder or APC microphone. Dragon then imports that recording from a handheld device when synchronizing with the PC for automatic transcription. An assistant can proofread the text with the associated audio file anywhere between 15 minutes to 1 hour, of course, depending on her workload, his or her workload. Then the assistant sends the memo back to the lawyer for final approval. The lawyer can read the memo and provide any additional edits as necessary. And then in as least as 30 minutes, you can have a finalized document. So really, what does this example illustrate to us? It really shows that Dragon can streamline that transcription process by as much as 75% for dramatic productivity increases that can deliver bottom-line results. So I wanted to get back to leveraging Dragon for command and control of your PC and to automate multi-step tasks. So this is where voice commands can let you control and command some of the most basic applications, but also including some legal programs, also the internet and private intranets, and really enables you to navigate screens and menus by voice. So simple examples can include anything from open Microsoft Word, create new document. And the Dragon voice shortcuts are a preset of commands found, and you'll see this in the demonstration, that can really make it faster and easier to perform specific tasks, even things such as searching the web, sending an email, or scheduling meetings. You can even search your computer for specific information by voice. For example, you can say things like, send email to XYZ Corporation, or find email about the Robinson appeal. In addition, we have what's called boilerplate commands that allow you to create text blocks. And these can include things as graphics and inserting them into documents or emails using single voice commands like insert signature or insert company logo. So obviously, if you have documents that have repeatable text that's boilerplate in nature, this would be a great feature to really increase your efficiency. So macro commands can speed up repetitive tasks, even when it comes to data entry. For example, you can create Dragon macros that allow you to automatically enter specific data, create custom forms, or even navigate fields, and you'll see more of this in our demonstration as well. And macros can also be created to perform a sequence of keystrokes or mouse movements to automatically execute routine tasks that may eat up much of your limited time. We also find that Dragon can be used for citations, which we know are automatically formatted, to create and edit spreadsheets, or to control accounting and time billing software, all using very straightforward voice commands. And I also wanted to take a few minutes to talk specifically about how Dragon is a mobility solution. So many of you may spend some significant time traveling from location to location, whether for client visits, depositions, court hearings, and more. And since most of you already work long hours, you need to use your time productively, no matter where your job may take you. So Dragon can enable attorneys and other legal professionals to increase their productivity during this travel time or even when they're away from their office by dictating into a digital voice recorder or other handheld device for automatic transcription. So this was the process that you saw me talk about a little bit earlier. And an enterprise deployment of Dragon allows users to export their file via the network or a portable storage device for use on another computer or laptop. So you can really take advantage of speech recognition anywhere at any time. This mobile productivity tool ensures that time spent on the road or off-site does not mean having to be any later in the office catching up on work. You can certainly leverage in-vehicle or other formerly unproductive time to dictate notes, reports, and other documents accurately but also safely. And as a result, you can turn these documents around quickly for improved client service and increased focus on billable work. So with that, I want to introduce Tom Vane, who is one of our sales engineers. Tom is actually going to take you through a demonstration of Dragon so you can see exactly how it works. So Tom, I'm just handing you over the presenter status. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right, thank you, Amy. So I'm going to be sharing my desktop here so you can see exactly what's occurring. That'll show up in just a few moments here. But while that shows up, I would like to explain a couple different things here. Amy was talking about our different mobile solutions and that we're in our different IVR systems where you call in and you ask for somebody or by name or ask for agent, and different handheld devices, Garmin's, TomToms, etc. And one thing that separates Dragon from our other software is that this is actually speaker-dependent software, meaning that if you, when you first set it up, you go through a 5 to 10 minute process of actually training the software to understand your particular voice. And that sets us apart because our other software is speaker-independent software, which doesn't really quite learn from your voice as much as Dragon actually speaking does. Dragon, actually speaking, is constantly learning as you're using it, as you're dictating, as you're correcting. So it really improves the experience more and more the more you use it. And you'll find yourself, as she had mentioned, at an accuracy rate of around 99% accuracy, and your typing speeds are going to be around 150 to 160 words per minute. So Dragon Legal is really specifically designed to streamline the workflow of a law firm or a corporate legal department while improving the legal professional's efficiency. Quick and accurate speech recognition can definitely speed up the creation of contracts and briefs or emails and other documents. I know a lot of your days are spent performing any of these different documentations, especially emails. It's wonderful for emails, considering the average person spends anywhere between 2 to 4 hours a day on emails, which is a disgusting amount, and that'll definitely cut that time easily in half. So the two demos included in today's session are going to highlight several important features. The accurate transcription of dictation with legal terminology, because Dragon actually has a legal-specific dictionary, and the ability to format citations, and the time-saving benefits of custom voice commands to automate routine tasks. I'm also going to show you the back-end transcription. Right now, the one to start out with is what we call front-end transcription, where you're talking to your computer and it's writing something out. But as Amy mentioned, we know that we're moving towards a more mobile type of lifetime here. And with what we call the auto-transcribe folder agent, you can actually create your recordings on a digital recorder and then have them transcribed at a later time. So all of that provides time-saving benefits throughout your workday. So in the first session, I'm just going to be dictating a legal, a deposition letter that will show you different, the live dictations, the custom macros that you can make, along with the different citations that you can perform with Dragon actually speaking. So before I get into this, you should be able to see my screen. At the very, very top here is what we call the Dragon bar. This is our user interface for Dragon actually speaking. Provides you all of your different menu options and the ability to turn your microphone on and off, even though there are several ways you can do so. And this is all the space, all the desktop real estate that Dragon actually speaking requires. It doesn't take up a lot of space on your screen at all. We know with the higher demand of desktop real estate, people are getting larger and larger monitors so they can put different programs in certain areas and see multiple applications on their screen at one time. So because we realize this, we don't take up a lot of room, and we even make it so that you can minimize this to your system tray, where it's a tray icon only at the very bottom right here. You're not required to keep it there, but it is an option that's available. So people prefer it that way just because it doesn't take up any desktop real estate at all. So without further ado, I'm actually going to show you an example within Microsoft Word. However, I wanted to note that Amy was referring to different applications like Corel or Perfect, most applications that you can type into. Other applications might include Goldmine or Time Matters. Any of those applications, I know not everybody out there uses Microsoft Word. They might use their own proprietary software, which essentially, as long as you can click into that field and there's a blinking cursor, you're allowed to actually dictate into that same field too. So we're not limited to any specific field. Just as long as you can type there, we can type there also. So although you're seeing me perform my demo mainly within Microsoft Word, we are available to be able to dictate into other applications as well. Open Microsoft Word. Header. Stephen Jones. June 25th, 2013, new paragraph. Anderson. Dear Stephen, new paragraph. Please prepare for the Anderson deposition by reviewing some Commerce Clause cases, particularly 289 Northwest, 2nd 416, Minnesota, 1979, as well as preemption cases such as 764 Federal 2nd 463, 3rd Circuit, 1999, period, new paragraph. Within that preemption context, consider home rule powers plus related policy issues, period. Also remember that when a federal statute does not directly overcome state law, a federal administrative agency may do so by regulation, reference 257 Northeast 2nd 97, 1993, period, new paragraph. You may want to argue that the defendant municipality has exceeded its powers in an area of statewide concern, citing 137 Atlantic 2nd 1030, 1977, period, new paragraph. Signature. So as you can see, I've actually structured a complete document all ready to go. This deposition letter is ready to go, ready to be formatted, if need be, by my secretary or an administrative staff, or honestly, you don't even need to go through that. I can format it directly within this too through use of voice commands that's direct and naturally speaking. For example, I can say, bold Dear Stephen, underline Anderson deposition, choose all. So you also have built-in voice commands that allow you to command and control your computer, especially when working within Word documents. The other thing I'm going to show you here is actually going to be also performed within Microsoft Word, but it's actually going to be a stock option grant that automatically guides you through the workflow. So you might have multiple forms where none of the information changes. You might have the same grant, but the only thing that changes are some of the actual options within that stock option. So a quick example of that will be select all, delete that, create stock option template, 20, 1,000, incentive, 35, 90 days. And with that, I've filled out my full report, my full grant, and I can send this, I can save it, I can put it on letterhead, print it out on a memo, and it's ready to go, ready to be sent to my secretary or ready to be sent to the client itself. So Dragon is really powerful in the sense that you can create your own different macros, you can create your own different advanced scripting commands, or even just the signature command that you saw in my previous demonstration, with inserting your signature, inserting your header, inserting different deposition titles. So all this is available right within Dragon Naturally Speaking Legal. And the last thing I'm going to go into is what we call an auto-transcribe folder agent. We understand that you're not always available in front of your computer or in front of your desk to be able to transcribe directly into a document. Dragon Naturally Speaking still opens you up to a world of mobile life so that you can use what we call, again, the auto-transcribe folder agent. That folder agent can either be installed on a client machine, like my desktop here, like I have it, or it can be installed on a server machine where you can actually send your audio files to. And let me give you an example of what that looks like. I'm going to exit Dragon Naturally Speaking. You don't even need to have it running during this time. You can have what we call the auto-transcribe folder agent open, and what's created are what's called tasks. Right now I have a task for two different parts of my profile. I have a general vocabulary and I have a legal vocabulary profile. And that legal vocabulary profile, when I open it up here, it's going to show you the settings that I have for this task. It shows my input directory and an output directory. My input directory is basically a folder that I have designated for Dragon to look and look for any kind of, and watch for any kind of incoming audio files that I may have recorded. For example, I actually have a Philips and Olympus recorder, and there's many other different recorders that are out there that are supported that you can use. But I'm currently using a Philips recorder, and I recorded some speech a little bit before this demonstration, just so you don't have to listen to me create that whole recording. And essentially, once I could take that off the recorder, I can give this to my secretary, which is now becoming a correctionist. I'll explain that in a few minutes what that means. But that secretary is not going to transcribe this. This is going to get that first draft already created and formed for them, and for yourself, too. So I've designated this input legal folder as my incoming folder. This is what where I'm going to put all my audio files to be transcribed. And Dragon's going to automatically see that when they come into that folder and begin transcribing them. And once it's done transcribing the audio file, it's going to put the results in an output directory. Now the results can end up being a .doc file, a Word document, a rich text format RTF file, or a plain text file, .txt file. It's your own choice. Typically, we see that our users just decide to go with Word document because that's pretty much universal at this point. Everybody has Word. There's very few people that don't have Word. If you don't, it's not a problem. You can always use, again, rich text format or just .txt, as long as you can get that text. And then at that point, you can specify I can specify what profile I want to use to transcribe any of those input directories. That's because, again, Dragon Naturally Speaking is speaker-dependent software. It relies on that speaker. So whenever I have anything coming in the input legal folder, I want it to be transcribed with my profile because it's my voice being put in those audio recordings. And then last but not least, you just click OK, and now you have that task automatically set up. So with that, I've actually taken the liberty here. I actually have my Philips device plugged in, and I have my recording that I created. I created a couple of different recordings at earlier dates, but this is one you can see that I just created today. And just to let you know, there's no pre-baking here. I'm going to look at my output legal folder. It's empty. I'm going to look at my input legal folder. It is also empty. And all I have to do is I can either send this file to my secretary to put into this folder, or I can take and connect the device myself and just drag it over here to my input legal folder. And once it's in there, you're actually going to notice that now this is actually starting to transcribe. This is typically a 1-to-1 ratio as far as time is concerned. Every minute of dictation takes about a minute of transcription time, which is still much faster than any kind of transcription that's performed, because the transcriptions are going back, listening to what you said, trying to type it out, stopping, starting the recording, going back, listening to what you said, typing out, making a correction, which gets actually very tedious and takes a long amount of time. So depending on the speed of the computer, you can actually get an even faster ratio, where it takes less time to transcribe a longer dictation. And as you can see, I had about 4 minutes of audio here, and that took less than 4 minutes here. So I do have a little bit faster of a machine here. But again, especially on a server, you're going to end up with a higher-end machine anyway, and that is going to process the audio files even faster for you. And it works on a first-in, first-out methodology. So when you if you were to put 2 different audio files in that input folder, it's going to process one at a time. And you can have this running on multiple machines. So if you wanted to have one running on each machine, you can process more than one audio file at one time. So now we actually have our results within our output legal folder. You'll see there's 3 different files here. One is the DS2 file, which is a proprietary format to Philips devices, Matlock devices, Olympus devices, and that's my original recording file. And then I have 2 other files here. I have my my created document here, which has all of my dictation into it. As you can see, this is about a page, a little less than a page and a half, which only took about, let's say, a total time of 10 minutes. 5 to create the recording, 5 to actually transcribe it. And at that point, I can have my secretary or correctionist go through and correct this. Now, another feature of this is that we have what's called a DRA file, Dragon Recorded Audio. That DRA file is something that's proprietary to Dragon Actually Speaking that combines the audio of your transcription and the text into one simple file. So what I can do is I can send this DRA file over to my secretary, transcriptionist, assistant, or whoever that I want to have this work finalized for me, and they'll open Dragon Actually Speaking on their end. Now, when I say Dragon Actually Speaking is going to be open on their end, you might be thinking, oh, great, another license I have to use. That's simply not true. Dragon Actually Speaking is a per-speaker license, meaning that I'm one speaker. My secretary isn't going to be speaking, so they can either open my profile or create what's called a profile that's used in a correction-only mode, where they can't even turn on the microphone. But what they'll be able to do is they'll be able to use Dragon to play back this DRA file and make corrections and then send you the finalized results. So I'm going to open up my own profile. If I were the secretary, I could open up the speaker's profile at that time. And then at that point, I can open what we call the Dragon Pad. That's our own little word editor. It's nothing fancy. It's just a little text editor that's on your screen. But you can use that to actually open these DRA files. I'm going to go into the output legal folder. I'm going to look for DRA files. I'm going to select my results, click open, and you'll see it actually shows you all the text that's on your screen. Now, it doesn't end there. What happens is if you, in a typical situation with a transcriptionist, they're going back and forth between the recording and then opening up their text file, making the edits, and then when the recording is still playing, they have to go back and rewind, play back from an area where they left off and remember where they were leaving off, and then they switch back to the document, which becomes really tedious because you find yourself flipping back and forth between documents. With Dragon Actually Speaking, because you can actually combine those files, this allows me to click in an area and then click on play. And when I click on play, it's actually going to begin playing my own voice.
36 years of age.
Period. At the the accent, she was working as bar staff at the Red Lion Pub in Bristol, period, new paragraph. She was open and helpful throughout the interview process and answered all questions asked of her, period. She does seem to be believable and reliable, and we are inclined to accept that she did indeed slip upon a spillage on some stairs, period, new paragraph. So anytime I can click within this document, make any kind of changes, make any kind of formatting options, bold, add a header. I can do whatever I want within this just to make sure we can get a finalized document. But really, most of the work is done at this point, leaving out that person and changing their role from a transcriptionist and changing their role to a correctionist. The correction process takes only a small fraction of the time that it took them originally to even create the document from scratch and type it out. This creates your first document, the first draft document for you, and this frees that original transcriptionist or secretary. It frees them from that role so they can perform other administrative daily tasks. So you no longer have a backlog. You're no longer waiting for a third-party transcriptionist to get back to you. And you have this document ready to go on Monday without having to work on the weekend. By Friday, you can relax. You've gotten your work done. You've either sent the transcription over for your secretary to take care of at that point, to actually just run it through the auto-transcribe folder agent, or you already have it dictated live in front of you and is ready to go, ready for Monday's court hearing, and you don't have to worry about it over the weekend. You can spend time with your friends and family. You don't have to worry about putting all that extra overtime in. So, and you can even see where I've even done some formatting my own while I'm dictating. Accident circumstances, colon, new paragraph. It actually puts the colon, puts all my notes detailed right within here. Gives me the whole big picture of what I was trying to dictate, and it's accurate. Looking through this, I mean, I know what I dictated. I'm looking at around 99% accuracy here. I don't see any wrong words, but I don't want to count that up. There could be possibly one wrong word here. So with that said, as you can see, Dragon Naturally Speaking is going to greatly improve and boost your productivity. It's also going to improve your morale. It's also going to improve any kind of repetitive stress injuries you may have, or it's going to prevent repetitive stress injuries you may experience from typing, or even that your transcriptionist might incur when they are typing. So as you can see, Dragon is really impressive and brings a whole new level of a playing field when it comes to getting your work done on time and in a timely fashion. So with that, I'm going to return it back to you, Amy.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. Hey, I just want to have you go through a few more things, if you don't mind, before you pass the ball back to me. So I'm wondering if you could just show the Dragon sidebar and just how that changes between applications so folks can see the types of commands that are available to them.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing you may notice, like I said, there's different commands already built in the Dragon Naturally Speaking. We have two types of commands: application-specific commands, commands that are, and I hate to use the definition and the actual name in the definition here, but these commands are specific to that particular application. It won't work anywhere else. For example, we have commands that will work in Word, but you wouldn't necessarily use them in Microsoft Excel and vice versa. I wouldn't use move to cell A4 in Microsoft Word because it's not a spreadsheet application. So there are different commands that are available for different particular applications, but we also have global commands which will work in any application. If you think about it, the term global, right? I'm globally known, I'm known worldwide. It works everywhere. It's something that works globally to your machine. So you might be thinking, well, how do I learn these commands? How do I know these commands to begin with? I don't understand how he knows these. Well, one, I've had some practice, and two, we have what's called the Dragon sidebar in Dragon Naturally Speaking. This sidebar actually is easy to bring up because you might get into a situation where you're asking yourself, well, what can I say? Well, it's just as actually easy as either going to the help menu and choosing Dragon sidebar, or just ask Dragon Naturally Speaking, what can I say? And you'll notice that this sidebar comes up automatically. I can look at the Desktop Explorer commands that we have available to us, or if I open Microsoft Word, you'll notice that it actually changes once Word opens to Word and WordPerfect command. I didn't change this. I didn't press any button. It just senses this application is open automatically. If I say open Microsoft PowerPoint, notice it actually changes the commands again to my PowerPoint applications. If I switch back to Word, it goes back to Word Perfect. Open Microsoft Excel. So we have direct integration with any of these Office applications. The other point that I was making before was you don't have to worry about it. If you're not using Word specifically, we integrate with tons of different other applications. Again, Word Perfect, Open Office, but Time Matters, Goldline, all those different types of applications that we do integrate with, and you'll see these commands if you need them. If you're wondering, well, what can I say? Just ask Dragon. Say, what can I say? And that will display the sidebar and give you the most commonly used commands within that application. Or again, you can look at your global commands that work in any application, whether that's learning how to select text, editing text, correcting recognitions, moving the cursor, adding lines and spaces, really anything. The possibilities are endless. Was there anything in particular, anything else in particular you wanted me to show off?
Yeah, Tom, actually, two things. So actually there's one question that we do have about the various microphones that are available for input with Dragon. Can you just touch on that real quick?
Yeah, definitely. So everybody's familiar with the phrase garbage in, garbage out, right? The same thing applies to speech recognition. If you provide the program with bad audio, it's going to give you bad recognition. It will work. It'll try and figure out what you're saying. But if it's not an accurate or a clear audio signal provided to Dragon actually speaking, it won't actually provide you that creative accuracy. With that said, Dragon does come with its own headset, with its own microphone, which we have certified as a wonderful microphone to use with it and provides great accuracy. Now, however, you are not restricted to only using our headset. You can use other different microphones. And a great way to check that out is going to support.nuance.com/compatibility. When you go to that list, we actually have tested different microphones out there with Dragon actually speaking to show you different types of headsets that will work, and we grade them based on based out of a 6-Dragon grading process. So you can get we might have tested a headset that got a one Dragon out of 6. Or we've also had headsets out there that have 6 Dragons out of 6 Dragons. But you can see here we have different types of microphones, wired microphones and wireless microphones, Bluetooth, or even radio frequency. So you can go through and see what kind of microphone you would like, and at that point, just click on that that type of microphone, and you'll see everything in the list here. You can organize it by manufacturer. For example, I'm actually using a Plantronics headset right now, and you can filter it out and review what kind of headsets you can use. Sorry, I apologize for that little pop-up here. But you can see that we support many different types of headsets, and these are just the ones that we've actually tested. There might be other headsets out there that provide a great, clear audio signal that we just haven't gotten around to testing yet. There's tons of different companies out there. There's tons of different microphones. So it's impossible for us to really test every single one out there and certify them with Dragon. But I mean, as long as it provides a clear audio signal, the tech specs of that audio signal is 11.25 kilohertz at a 16-bit mono frequency. So that's the tech specs, but most microphones these days are really going to provide that. If you go to, and I don't want to downput any particular retail store, but if you go to a retail store down the street, it's not typically an electronics shop, you buy a $5 headset, odds are that headset's really not going to provide great audio in the Dragon actually speaking. It might work great for Skype because Skype isn't really Dragon actually speaking. It's not really speech recognition. It's just going to be something that provides a decent audio signal. The better audio signal you have, the better recognition you're going to have.
Great, thanks, Tom. You know, we talked a lot about macros and kind of some of the voice commands. Would you mind just showing the audience where they can go to create macros and how to create maybe a simple macro?
Definitely. So there's a couple different options here. And I'm going to give you an example just because I don't have specific examples for our legal customers, but I do. We work with a lot in law enforcement too, and this is an example I even use, and it applies to even federal services, insurance, it applies to legal situations. And really what we have is we have basically what I like to call voice shortcuts or text macros, which allows you to say a command, a couple words or 2 or 3 words. It inserts text automatically for you, a pretty set amount of text. Now, you saw where I said signature before. I can say signature, and it inputs that text automatically for me. It doesn't matter where I clicked into. I click into that area and see signature, and it inputs that graphic, that text and the graphic for me. Now, to create that, all I have to do is go to Tools, Add New Command. I create a command name like insert signature or just signature or insert my signature. Right? The possibilities are endless here. And then I put whatever content that I want here. So Dragon will hear whatever's in my command name and type out whatever you put in the content field here. You can apply all your bold, italics, underlining, your font changes, all within this little content field. And when you say insert my signature or whatever command you designated in the my command name field, it's going to output that content exactly as you have it, which is very handy when it comes to not only signatures, but even pre-filled areas. For example, again, this is something I typically use in law enforcement, but you'll get the basic idea here. Insert speeding citation. Now, this is a little area where not much of the information changes. You'll notice that I don't have complete static text here. So there's going to be something that it does actually change within this text. But notice that there's actually also brackets within this text. Those brackets, the left square bracket and right square bracket, actually detail the Dragon Naturally Speaking that this is a field that you can use. So as you can see, I can actually say next field, she, next field, 88, next field, Connolly Road, next field, Subaru Forester. All the rest of the text stays the same. So it's just as easy to go through and say next field, so the Dragon will see it automatically, move right to it, and you can dictate whatever you want in that field. And notice that I actually, you can write whatever you want between those brackets. You can have just the bracket alone, but I find it to be very helpful to actually put something descriptive in here, so when you're going through, you insert that block of text, and there's only a couple items that you want to change. You say next field. When you're on that field, you know exactly what you're going to be saying. Is it 20, 30, 40, or 50%? Right? You want to put a percent here. I want to put a speed there. I want to put a person's name in that location. Or the only thing that might change that block of text is either defendant or the person's name or their address. So really the possibilities are endless as far as what you can do with the commands. And that's just text and graphic commands. You also have different commands that you can add as far as step-by-step commands. So let's say you are using Time Matters or you're using Goldmine. I keep bringing up these 2 applications. I know there's other ones out there. Those are the ones I'm mainly familiar with. You can create step-by-step commands to perform keystrokes or even open different applications or send specific keys or even turn the microphone on or off based on what you're inserting. So for example, in Word, instead there's already a command where I could say insert 3x2 table. But let's say I'm in an application that we don't have specific commands for. We have global commands, but we don't have application-specific commands. You can create your own application-specific commands by following keystrokes very easily. So I can do something like Alt, N, T, and A, sorry, it's I, NTI, and then Enter. That's going to insert a table for me. So I can do the same keystrokes. I can replicate those with Dragon Naturally Speaking. All I have to do is press Alt-N, and then I can't remember what the keystrokes are for that, but that's going to be one of the things you have to remember. But and then you can just do T, I, and then Enter. And then now, whatever command name that I choose for this, I can either make it something specific to Word, I can make it application specific, and choose it for it to be specific to Word only, where it won't work anywhere else. And then whenever I say that command name, it's going to follow these steps. It's going to press Alt-N, then T, then I, then Enter, and perform that action specifically for you. So it's very easy to even create your own automation, your own commands with Dragon Naturally Speaking. And if you ever needed to edit a command, we do have what's called a command browser in your tools menu. And that command browser actually shows you all the commands that you've created or even if you wanted to browse all the ones that are already built in. So here's all the global commands. But you can see there's different application-specific things that I have for the applications that I have installed, so that I can see what commands are available within that application through Dragon, actually speaking. Anything else in particular, Amy, you wanted me to show off? Amy?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. We must have had a little bit of an audio issue here. Hopefully, everybody can still hear me. So I just wanted to wrap up by talking a little bit about, results that speak for themselves. So we really find that most organizations can reap the benefits of Dragon speech recognition in less time as as often as 1 year. And some of the reasons behind that is really because Dragon is easy to use. It allows most users to be up and running and really which leads to high adoption rates with minimal training and support costs. It delivers up to 99% accuracy out of the gate, which really lets users quickly create accurate, detailed documentation and correspondence with no spelling errors. And Dragon's dictation capabilities let users create documents and emails 3 times faster than typing, while the macros that we demonstrated to you allow you the ability to automate and streamline repetitive manual processes. So really, this can all add up to productivity savings as much as 70%. And increases support staff productivity by a whopping 300%. So when the benefits of speech-enabled productivity solutions are multiplied across dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of professionals within an organization's mobile workforce, the cost savings and productivity gains can really add up quickly for bottom-line results. So I wanted to address, I think, a few questions that we did have left over that we didn't get to during Tom's demonstration. And one of them is can you use the iPhone for dictating? And yes, that is one thing that we did not discuss. What you do have to do is we have an app that is used for that dictation output. It is a free application that you can download within the iTunes store. And then once you have that, you can absolutely use your iPhone as an input device that will allow you to dictate directly into Dragon. We should also mention, too, that we do have a recording app that is available as well that does allow you to use your iPhone as a recording device, similar to what you would find with either the Philips or Olympus digital voice recorders. A couple of other things, certainly want to mention that, Dragon is a global product, and we do offer languages for Dragon. In addition to U.S. English, we do offer French, Spanish, Italian, German, and Dutch. And if you do happen to be a Mac user, we do have Dragon Dictate, which is our Mac application that has been around for a number of years, and some of you may remember the Mac Speech product. I think that addresses, a majority of the questions. If there's something that we didn't get to, I apologize. We will certainly make sure to take that offline with you, with everybody. And I really do apologize for that final snafu with the audio. I thank you for everybody hanging on with us. I hope that you found the webinar quite informative. As I mentioned, it has been recorded, and we will be sure to share that link of the recording with you. With that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.